What's good, everybody? It is the Big Time Sports Podcast with me, your host, Perci, Garner. And we got a show today where we're talking about, what else? Playoff football. And we got somebody representing Tusk County that is amazing. You guys all know who it is. But before we get into that, I just want to remind you, Big Time Sports Facebook, Big Time Sports website, and of course here, Big Time Sports YouTube. We're bringing you all the high school sports and beyond here on our channel here. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you like all these videos, and make sure you guys get involved in the conversation on the Facebook page. There's always some good posts going up there. And also tune into, Mr. Keithley's articles. He's got some good stuff up there too. So, he talks about our Grady Kinsey and things like that, and some Mount Union hoops that are coming up. So a lot of stuff to catch up on. But today I just want to kind of, talk about the playoff picture. Also send some congrats. I know there's some, a lot of high schoolers are signing their national letter of consent, and it's a special time, and I'm very happy for all of them. It's just exciting for them, their family, their schools, and their coaches that have coached them through their careers, and then now they kind of send them off to the next level. And we have some that I feel like we should mention because something, one is really big, and that's Liston Seibert from Perry, who just signed with Maryland for wrestling. So big time school, big time congrats to Liston, and man, can't wait to see you perform at the next level. I don't know much about wrestling. I'm not going to pretend to, but I know you're the real deal if you're committing to a school like that. So congrats. Also, we got a show coming up. So if you're not aware, there's the Big Time Sports Show, which I'm sure you are, but the show that's airing Wednesday at 7 and Friday at 10, and then you can also catch it on Spectrum 15. That's going to be 3 of your finest experts in football here in Northeast Ohio, and that's Charlie Jones, that's Ron Hurst, and none other than Hank Keithley. So tune into that. It's going to be them talking football, talking about this playoff picture. And because today I'm really only going to give some of my opinions, and I'm going to also give some of the, the top games to watch for me, in my opinion, for the playoffs that are coming up this weekend. And it's a lot. I pretty much, I don't have every division covered, but all the games that I was interested in, I got, one Division 1 game up there. We have Division 7 all the way out there. So there's a lot to talk about. But I really want to dedicate this show to, Grady Kinsey. We hear his name time and time again. You think he's got enough praise, but he just continues to just step his game up, break new records. And of course, he's never taken any of the credit. He's always reflecting a lot of the credit and the the good talk to his teammates, whether if it's lineman, his coach, or his other teammates. And he just goes to show you what type of athlete he is. But before I get into, the rest of the playoff previews, I just want to talk about Grady Kinsey. I've heard nothing but great things about this kid. Smart. I've talked to teachers that have had him in class, and, people that have trained him, and, obviously he just wasn't born with all these muscles. So, his hard work is just, it's great to see. And when you're having so much success, sometimes it can be, I would say not difficult, but you kind of just, everyone's telling you how great you are all the time. And sometimes that can mess with you negatively. Go to your head where you might not want to work out. You might not want to, really put your head down in the books, get good grades, and do things like that. You might just start to feel like, well, I got this thing figured out. I know I'm going to school to play football and on a scholarship, but not Grady. He's, and obviously he's not the only player on any Valley, but I just want to talk about him because, he just broke the rushing TD record for the state of Ohio, and I think he's tied with 133 touchdowns total for the state of Ohio. So we're assuming he's going to break that, this weekend of this game. And I guess since I'm already talking about them, they're facing New Lexington. Now, Indian Valley is undefeated 11-0. New Lexington is 11-1, so it should be a good matchup. And these regional finals are usually, sometimes two teams who may had the potential to win state are facing each other. So there's a lot of talent on the field, a lot of good teams, a lot of good coaches that are going to be participating in Fridays and Saturdays games. And I think, I've got to watch Grady once against Dover, and he ran all over us last year. But to me, it's amazing that Indian Valley is back in this position. They had won state last year, and I know Coach Lancaster was a little worried that they could be complacent, but it seems to me that they are not, and they're still hungry, and they know what they're capable of, and they're trying to go out and capture another state championship. Would just be crazy. But before I talk you guys' ear off about Grady Kinsey, I just want to go through a lot of the matchups that I kind of went through and was like, you know what, I would love to watch all these games. We need like a high school Sunday ticket or something so I can watch all these games. But we're just going to go by division. And I may skip some divisions. Just bear with me. These are the games that I would like to watch. Remember? So Division I, we've got Lakewood St. Ed's and Minder. I'm going to say Mentor, okay? Mentor, Mentor. So I'm saying all three of them. But, obviously they put a quarterback that's at West Virginia right now with Rich Rodriguez, and they're putting together another great season. They're 12-0. And Lakewood St. Ed, just because of the competition they play, they're 10-2, but they're a higher seed than Minner is. So, and they'll be playing at the Parma Byers Field at Robert Bolton Stadium. So there you go, neutral site. And then Division II, we've got Hoban, of course, who is 11-1 against none other than Massillon. That's Massillon, Washington. They're 9-3. They'll both be playing at Zanesville. Okay. Next, we have Big Walnut. Love saying that name. We have Big. Oh, wait, I read that all wrong. Sorry. Correction. Hoban is playing Walsh Jesuit. Sorry. Walsh Jesuit is 10-1. Hoban is 10-1, and they'll be facing each other at Bedford High School, Bearcat Stadium. Got all gibbered. Okay. Next in Division II is Big Walnut versus Massillon. All right. So Big Walnut is 11-1, Massillon's 9-3, and they'll be playing at Zanesville. Okay, we got that straight. Hoban versus Walsh Jesuit, Big Walnut versus Massillon. Okay. Division III. Division III is Bishop Watterson. All right, that's Columbus Bishop Watterson, number 1 seed, 11-0, versus Steubenville. Steubenville's 9-2. They'll be facing each other at Newark High School, which is Whitefield. All right. That's a big game. Division IV. All right. Division IV. We have New Lexington versus Indian Valley, of course. And they'll be playing at Coshocton. All right. So I know people are going to be wanting to go to that game to see Grady break the record for career touchdowns, total touchdowns. So check that out. That'll be in Coshocton. And then next we have Perry versus Cleveland Glenville. Glenville's 9-3. Perry's 10-2. Perry's the number 1 seed. They'll be playing at Ravenna High School. Okay, so these are all big games. Next, we have Division 6. Skipped over Division 5, sorry. Division 6. We have Kirtland, who's won so many state championships at this point. They're 12-0. And they'll be versing Garaway, who's 10-2. They'll be versing them at Louisville High School. All right. That's a game that Big Time Sports here will be replaying. So make sure you tune in there. If you aren't able to catch the game at game time, make sure you go to Big Time Sports YouTube, and we'll have the game there for you. All right. Division 7. All right. We have McDonald, who's 12-1 or 12-0, versus Mogador, Now, Margador is one of my favorite places because they got my favorite, I will say one of my favorite breakfast spots. If you ever are up to a challenge and you're really hungry, you can stop by Wildcat Cafe in Mogador, and they've got the He-Man and the She-Man breakfast pal. I'll call it a breakfast dish. I don't know. It's huge. It's like one of those waitresses when they come with everybody's food, you know, only your food is on this big silver platter. You know, usually everybody's plate's on one, but this is literally yours. I've never been able to finish a She-Man, let alone a He-Man. And it's fairly priced as well, so you can get a lot of food. But go ahead and check that out. But they'll be playing at Macedonia, Nordonia High School. So check that game out. Those are the games that I'm excited about that I wish I could watch all at the same time. But hey, beggars can't be choosers. And also, I want to remind you that this show is brought to you by Simpson Salute, Heating and Cooling, and then also Aaron Kovalchik, attorney at law.
Find a rewarding career close to home at Kimball. You'll find outstanding benefits, a supportive team, and opportunities for career growth. Working for a local family company really makes a difference. Apply today.
Aaron Kovalchik, attorney at law. Family court matters are important to you. You need an attorney that will listen to your concerns and execute a plan that will bring the results that you're looking for. That attorney is Aaron Kovalchik. For divorce or dissolution or custody, consult attorney Aaron Kovalchik. Inquire now at kovalchiklaw.com. That is www.kovalchiklaw.com.
I also want to talk about, a little bit of preview about the basketball season coming up. I'm excited about the basketball season. We just had the Tuscarawas County boys basketball and girls basketball previews at the Senior Center, thanks to the Tuscarawas County Hall of Fame. And great events, fun time, good food. And, I also want to take this opportunity to shout out, one of the people that I looked up to a lot. And, other than my own family, Colbert Byram Jr. was it for me as a child. I wore number 10 because of him. I used to create him in all the video games I would play. I'd make sure him and a lot of other Dover players were in the video game. And, it was just it was unfortunate my daughter was sick. I wasn't able to be there and watch him, accept his, his ticket to the Hall of Fame and give his acceptance speech. But he did give me a shout out. I did watch the speech on YouTube, and it was just he was just an amazing player, amazing person, and he inspired me a lot to want to play sports and play football in Tuscarawas County and especially for Dover. So congratulations to him and everybody else who was inducted into the Dover Hall of Fame. But yeah, the Tuscarawas County Hall of Fame put on two great events. It's always fun getting to hear coaches talk from Tuscarawas County, these schools that we have here locally. And man, it was, there was some laughs shared. And I will say, the thing I'm, most excited for is just some of the matchups between these coaches, because a lot at this level, in my opinion, basketball has a lot to do with coaching at this level. As maybe you get to the NBA, that changes a little bit, but the high school and college level, there's a lot about coaching, learning the game, because most of these kids, they're just given 100% effort, and, it's just up who can execute the game plan. So I'm very excited to watch a lot of Dover basketball this year, and I may attend some other schools as well, because I know some teams, even for Indian Valley, their quarterback, Riker Williams, is, obviously he's great at football, but he's really focused on basketball. So I'm excited to see if I can go watch him perform this year, and then girls basketball as well. It's it's exciting time to be a basketball fan, and remember, keep it locked here on Big Time Sports, because we will be having a lot of boys and girls basketball throughout the season here on YouTube, Facebook, Spectrum, all the places that we usually have our content. So I guess last but not least, I want to kind of, talk about and recap with, I gave a a little speech down at Buckeye Career Center, and I was talking to the construction students, and Mr. Brandon Begg, invited me down to speak to his construction class. And I know nothing about construction. If you know me, that's obvious. I'm a technology guy, but he wanted me to talk about teamwork. And I think this is, obviously a lot of people, when you think about teamwork, you think about sports, which this is big time sports. So let me talk about it. I think it's important that we understand that teamwork is going to follow you no matter what. And that's why I always say on the show that sports really help you in the long run and in life in general. But teamwork for me is, in a sports locker room, like when I was with the Indians in 2016, we had a lot of different people from a lot of different places in the United States, a lot of different places all over the world, spoke a lot of different languages. But we were able to, not really focus on the differences, focus on, hey, we all want to be better baseball players. We all want to be better teammates. We all want to be coachable. We all want to, have great work ethic. And when you put all those things together and your focus is, hey, this is what we want to accomplish this season, it kind of just, you're kind of, a lot of times when you're in it, you're not thinking about it. But then when you look back on the season, you're like, man, that was a great season. And obviously we didn't win the World Series. We came up short. But at the end of the day, when you look at that roster and you look at, if you're in that locker room and you're, I was blown away by just the sheer, it was kind of like a high school team. We would condition together, we're working out together, and, we're all giving each other fives after we're done with our conditioning. And it was obviously great memories for me. But I would encourage, I try to have some education in the show at the end. Usually we have Mike Galena in here because he's the educator. But sometimes I like to share my experiences as well. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. But for me, teamwork is just something that can't be overlooked. And I know a lot of people like to focus in on their skills when it comes to their sport or their trade or their in the when you're in your corporate world or whatever it may be, you like to focus on, okay, I want to make sure I know how to do this. I want to make sure I know how to do this, which is great, because if you can't do your job, the team isn't going to succeed. But at the end of the day, knowing how to treat others, knowing how to respond to others, knowing how to lead if you're in a leadership position is very important. And there's risk involved. We talked about that on the show before. But I think it's pretty easy if you're able to lead by example, if you're able to show up, work hard, and, kind of know what you're doing and take care of your responsibilities, and also look after your teammates in a way that shows that you really care. I think success will follow. So I'd hope that, can help somebody listening. But again, big time sports here. We got lots of content coming up. We got the playoffs, high school football playoffs that's going on. Make sure you tune into that this weekend. And remember, there's only a few players like Grady Kinsey that come around. And, make sure you are able to watch him in person. Clips on the internet are amazing. And of course, I want you to come to Big Time Sports and watch as much as our content as possible. But if you can, don't just assume they're going to win and go to state. And sometimes it's hard to get tickets for that game anyway. So if you can, go watch Grady Kinsey in Indian Valley or Garaway, or any of the teams I listed. I try not to show my bias. I can't help it. I can't. But make sure you catch those kids in action. All right. It's pretty amazing. So without further ado, we will see you in the next episode. Peace.